All right. Good morning, everyone. Let's get going here. All right. U.S. session last night. Another solid day. We're up about 0.5% on most of the indexes. Nasdaq making a new 14-year closing high or something along those lines. We also had the S&P, which is really inched very close to making a new all-time high as well. Like we said, after a sharp pullback, or a reasonably quick pullback, I should say. It wasn't that far. I think we really got down about 4.5% at the most from the highs. And we're basically right back up there already. So well done. 3 cheers for U.S. markets. And then anyway, we've got yesterday in the States we had our CPI numbers. It actually came at 0.1. That was actually a touch softer than expectations. Not in line. It was actually softer. Sorry, expectations were at 0.2. We had housing starts and building permits, which were actually better than expected. That came on the back at the same time in the morning. We had Home Depot's numbers, which came out better than expected. So nice boost there for Home Depot on the same day as earnings, getting the little housing starts boost. And we also had Apple that punched through 100 on the closing basis for the first time since its 7-for-1 split. In Asia, we didn't have too much that's going on. We had the Japan trade deficit came out higher than expected. A little pressure on the market, but the yen's quite soft. Dollar very strong overnight, and you can see there against almost all the crosses, the dollar strengthened last night against the yen, against the euro, against the rand, pretty much everything. We had dollar strength against last night, and so that kind of maybe buoyed the Nikkei a little bit in last night's session. And then in China, we had the property stocks, which really resumed some of the selling again. So and then despite big sell-off and BHP Billiton after the disappointment of not having a share buyback yesterday, Aussie managed to actually hang in, which is a good result, I think, for them. All right, corporate action today. We've got Hewlett-Packard, which is out in the States. Absolutely nothing else. We did have Moody's that came out yesterday and downgraded the top 4 banks in South Africa. And it happened just after hours. Also made some comments about, there could be further potential downgrades coming. I don't really foresee it to be too big of an issue today in the markets. I know that we saw some pressure on some of the others when this happened, but I think because it's this has kind of been a trickle down effect. We saw it obviously with Able, and then with Capitec, and then now with the Big Four. I think some of that's probably a little bit priced in, so probably not too heavy on the day out of the Big Four. All right, as we said before, we had trade balance numbers out of Japan. We also had the All Industry Activity Index came in line. We had German PPI, which was out at 8 this morning, which came in a little bit softer than expected, which softer than expected from a PPI point of view is better. So very no inflation there, actually deflation from a producer price point of view. We've got the CPI here locally at 10 o'clock. We've got the BOE releasing monetary policy minutes at 10:30. We got construction output out of the Eurozone at 11, and mortgage apps and Fed releasing FOMC minutes in the States this afternoon. All right, let's get into the maps. Okay, we had some reasonable moves in a lot of different shares yesterday, but not that much. It's actually setting up into what looks like real opportunity on the short term. So we're going to just kind of review some of the stuff. I mean, from the head and shoulder pattern that we saw in Billy's here, you can see here we obviously dropped at the bottom really hard yesterday on the back of the buyback, lack of buyback, I should say, buyback that didn't happen. And we're really looking down here There's the first real level of support. I would peg it around 343. I think if we look at the height of the head and shoulder formation here, we're probably looking at about, call it $17 from a breakdown of 359. So maybe around 342 would be our target. So yeah, that lines up pretty nicely. Somewhere in that region, there's definitely support here in Billiton. So keep that in mind. You know, if we get a little bit of a second day play down to around that level, we could find some support somewhere down there. Anglos, just having a look at Anglos again here. We know we've got this massive level up here around 88. And what's interesting is that, you know, we failed it again there yesterday, obviously on the back of Billiton. I'll zoom this a little bit forward, but we're really starting to look a bit head and shoulderish here again in Anglos as well. And you can see here, I think we really need to get above that level. I think we need to get above 88, but I mean at least 86 in the very least. You can see there that lines up perfectly symmetrically, you know, on either side of on the shoulder. That 86 is kind of that level. So until we get above 86 in Anglos, you know, I think we could potentially be stuck in a bit of a head and shoulder pattern. And that's a bit worrying. So just watch this one closely. I'm not bearish on it necessarily, but the setup's there. If this thing falls out the bottom of that level, maybe a little bit south of 275. All right, if we look at Steinhoff, we finally had a real day of outperformance in Steinhoff yesterday. Outperformed the entire retail sector, was very heavy yesterday on the back of the disappointing ShopRite earnings. We closed just above 52, 52.06 we closed in Steinhoff. And this is really the major level. I mean, if you look here, obviously you can see that there's quite a major level of support. This is where we did drop below a few sessions ago, and have been, you know, kind of moving out to the right just above $50. Getting back above 52 is important, I think, from a technical point of view, also from a psychological point of view, because this is where the rights issue happened, you know, 2 weeks ago or whatever it was. And the fact that we've gotten above that, I think, is significant. So, you know, provided we can hold 52 maybe for the day today, if we can start pushing up a little bit from here, this might be the place to kind of jump on board if you're not involved in Steinhoff. All right, sticking in the retail theme, we'll just have a look at Truworths, which has really been the dog of the sector. You can see here, actually, sorry about that. Let's drop that down to there. Okay, you can see that we really dropped to new lows, new recent lows in Truworths in yesterday's session, and really from the height of this channel is actually a significant downside here to take us actually to new lows on the year. But the first thing that we're going to need to look at is, I would say, this is the closing lows of the year, which are down here at, I'm going to look at the closing price, top left, $66. So we closed at 67.05 yesterday. If we can get south of 66, this thing potentially could see some further downside. It'd obviously be really worrying. You know, I think if we did see it able to hold here for a couple sessions and reverse upward, you know, maybe it's worth jumping on board after, you know, getting punished on the back of something like ShopRite. All right, and the last one that we're going to have a look at today is Coronation. Sorry, not Coronation. Capitec. Yeah, Capitec, you can see, is really on the downgrade that I believe happened 2 days ago. We had a bit of a island reversal here where we really made a gap down from that sort of level. We kind of have pushed back up to retest and fill that gap, and as of yesterday's close, right at 216. I think this level is going to be very, very important to watch. If we start to fail this level again from today and start to push lower, you know, one really could be, there could be some meat left on this bone. The target to the downside here would be really big, and it's definitely worth keeping an eye on. I mean, I would say that we're probably going to come down here and test the lows or come close to testing these lows if we can get a reversal off of these levels, maybe 30 rand a downside from the sort of 216 level. So maybe not all the way down here, but close. So I think, like I said, if this thing can get above 216 over the next couple sessions and we start to reverse a little bit lower, this one might be a nice little play with some people maybe panicking out on the back of what's going on with Abel. And that's it for today, guys. Good luck out there.